Hi, Zildjian artist Russ Miller here, and I want to take a few minutes and talk to everybody about the new ALCHEM-E electronic drum system from Zildjian. Zildjian has a full electronic system. This is brand new, and it of course is based around Zildjian cymbals, which we'll talk about here in 1 second. But you are looking at the ALCHEM-E system, and it is a full system of pads, drums, cymbals, module, everything. There's 3 different tiers, we'll call it, of drum systems for ALCHEM-E. The first one is called the Bronze EX, and that basically has a 5-piece configuration. They're single-headed toms and a couple cymbals, of course, hi-hat and the module. And then there's 2 Gold series. One is a 4-piece configuration, so you got a high tom, floor tom, and 2 cymbals. This is the Gold EX series, so it moves to a 5-piece kit with 3 cymbals, 2 crashes and a ride, of course the hi-hat, and then they all have the same module. So the module is the same no matter which system, and that's the Zildjian eVault module. It's a ZEV1 module. So it's the same no matter which system you get. It really, the defining characters are more the configuration of drums and pads and the cymbals themselves. So that's the Bronze series and the Gold series. The Bronze EX is made of poplar and basswood and has a matte black wrap to it. This series, the Gold kit, now is made of 7-ply North American maple shells. This kit is completely able to be transferred to a acoustic drum set, a full acoustic drum set, by simply removing the mesh heads and lowering the sensors down with a Phillips screwdriver and putting regular heads on. Now you have a 7-ply maple American maple shell drum kit, a full pro level drum kit. So it's a really hybrid world. You have the full electronic rig and then a full acoustic kit as well. So the finish of the Gold EX is this black gold sparkle lacquer, and it's a great story about this. It's actually modeled after the foundry floor at the Zildjian factory, because there's so much metal flakes and what they call cymbal fur in the air and on the floor that it's been stamped down into the foundry floor. It has this gold metallic look to the floor, and they use that sort of as the inspiration for the finish. There's 3 zones available on every instrument, right? So each cymbal has 3 zones. You have a bow. The bow is the common playing area of the cymbal. You have the edge, which is where you normally crash a cymbal, and then of course a crown. So if you take the ride cymbal, your bow, here's your edge, right? And then a crown. So every cymbal has 3 zones and every drum has 3 zones. So you have a center, you have a cross stick, and a rim shot. So all the drums 3 zones, all the cymbals 3 zones, and that includes crowns on the crash cymbals as well. So one of the great things about the cymbals is that you can choke the cymbals just like a real cymbal from any position on the cymbal as well. So if you hit the edge, you can see I can just choke the cymbal like normal. Now, let's talk about these cymbals for a second. This is the E series of cymbals. You may recognize them as being part of what Zildjian calls the low volume series. And they're very quiet when you play them, but it is a real Zildjian cymbal. It's true to life sizes of actual cymbal, 18, 16, 20s, 14-inch hi-hats. And we all know that the electronic drum systems on the market probably fall off the shelf at the cymbals. I mean, sometimes the pads feel good, they play very well, but when you get to the rubbery pads of most of the manufacturer's cymbals, that's a different feel, it's a different touch. It feels very odd to play those rubber pads. So having a real cymbal is absolutely incredible. And there's a proprietary triggering technology that's used with these low volume cymbals. Again, these are just the L80 low volume cymbals, but they're fitted with these sensors that allow it to pick up all 3 zones. There's a little magic happening here in the eVault module that allows this to happen, but it's completely dynamic. I mean, I'm grabbing it like a real cymbal, and it's reacting the same way. It's completely dynamic, completely, the velocity curves are set up to play in a wide range of what we're doing on the cymbal, just like a real cymbal would. So it's just amazing to me to be able to do this, especially with the hi-hat. This is very important, the hi-hat, that we have all of the facilities of the hi-hat, like a closed sound, and then you got an open sound, right? And a foot sound, all the things that we do. But the fact that you're able to play the hi-hat like we normally can play the hi-hat is huge when it comes to the feel and the experience playing the electronic drum. So these cymbals really, for me, are key. And of course, who would expect nothing less from Zildjian than making the top cymbal experience in the world. So as we know, the L80 low volume cymbals make little projectable sound. They're very quiet when you're playing them. So what I'll do is shut off the samples, and this is what they sound like just acoustically. Let's talk about the module for a second. All brand new. It's all proprietary technology. It's all new samples. And one of the things that Zildjian is really focused on with this system is called the Zildjian E-Vault. It's really 400 years. This is the 400th anniversary of Zildjian. I was honored to play at the anniversary show in Boston not too long ago. The lineage of a 400-year-old company is incredible, how much history's there, and history in the instruments. So one of the things that the team focused on was the 400 years of history in the Zildjian vault. And that vault is an incredible, one-of-a-kind of experience. I've spent quite a few hours there as a Zildjian artist. And you know, going through different cymbals, and there's just everything there, everything new, old, historical. So the E-Vault, the electronic vault as they're calling it, is installed into the system, and they're going to keep expanding that. So it's a very wide variety of sounds, of course, that Zildjian has just in their catalog. There's a USB port on the back of the module that allows you to continue to build the library, of course, with updates and things for the system itself, but to add new sounds into there. There's a regular just USB flash drive, and it's really simple to do. I've done it a lot myself already. There's high quality acoustic drum samples, of course, to go along with the great cymbal sounds, and every major manufacturer's sounds really have been added into there. They've done all that sampling themselves with their own team, and it's modern, vintage kits, all those things. And it's all been pre-configured here into the system, and they're set up in a lot of different kits when you open it up. I mean, vintage kits and set up studio and live and rock and metal, tons of things. There's Bluetooth connectivity in the module as well, and there's a lot of inputs for pads and cymbals. So obviously it comes, if you get the Gold EX, it comes with the 5-piece kit with the 3 cymbals, but there's 6 drum inputs and 6 cymbal inputs, so you can expand it to add more cymbals to the setup, or electronic drum pads as well, or the drums themselves. There's also 8 individual outputs in the back. That's super important at a professional level, to be able to output these things separately. Kick, snare, hat. Remember, now your cymbals are running through there, and you got to get the kick, snare, hat maybe separate, maybe all toms on a stereo pair, the rest of the cymbals like a set of overheads, sort of outputting out of those 8 outputs. That's really important. MIDI in and out, of course. There's a 10-channel USB slot and a 2-channel USB audio in for you to use it as an interface with a computer. And of course, USB-C is the most modern version of USB to get sounds in and out and data in and out for firmware and so on. There's an auxiliary input, which you can plug your iPhone into, play along with music, or even another module or anything else, so that you can mix it together within the E-Vault module. It has 32 gigs of memory in it, which is great because, as we know, a lot of the modules on the market over the years have been highly compressed sounds, like 20-to-1 compression to get the memory down. And these are full bandwidth sounds, light to no compression on them, so they sound great, very recording quality level, and that 32 gigs of memory really helps us be able to bring more sounds in and build up your own custom setups. It's pretty incredible what's already in there, but the fact that we can just keep building on it is awesome. So we want to be able to upload and swap those at will, and there's tons of stuff coming from the Zildjian team, artist cymbals, and all, again, more cymbals out of the vault. There's ambience DSP already in eVault, so you can add it to the entire kit, or there's individual sends for each cymbal and each drum. So if you just want to put a bunch of reverb on one cymbal, you can do that and create basically anything you want with DSP, which is great. There's a separate headphone output to allow you to practice and monitor with that, and it has a different volume, and you can also send different mixes to that than you are out of the output of the module. So there's a metronome built in and a lot of other practice features as well. It's incredible, and yes, Zildjian does what Zildjian does. They innovate and they make the best of the best. The experience with these cymbals is incredible. It makes a huge difference in the playability of an electronic instrument. So to have all the sounds that are available to you as an electronic instrument, but I don't have to change my technique and the facility to play it. It makes a huge difference. So if you have questions or comments about Zildjian ALCHEM-E or the entire eDrum kit experience, please contact your Sweetwater sales engineer or go to sweetwater.com.